Hey, welcome to it. It is Altitude After Dark with your boys DMac and Coach Mike Sanford. Vic Lombardi should be joining us shortly. Time to get into that Broncos game. We'll take your comments. We'll break down what Ferris Bueller means. Meanwhile, the Dallas-Pittsburgh game had a lengthy delay. They just started basically. Dallas is up 3-0. So lots to chew on here, and we're going to get to all of it. But first, Coach, just some of your thoughts on tonight.
Well, before that, I want to thank our awesome new sponsor. Altitude After Dark is brought to you by Beau Smith, Beau Smith, your Edward Jones financial advisor in Colorado. Learn how he can help you reach your goals. Visit edwardsjones.com/BAU- or dash Smith. We really appreciate you both, Smith. Appreciate Edward Jones for sponsoring this awesome show. The game.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, DMac.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this show for a long time, man.
By the way, sorry to embarrass you sticking my four fingers up, but it was the fourth quarter. That's how we roll. No, you didn't love it. You were embarrassed by it. You called the moment awkward.
I never said embarrassed. I said it was awkward. Like you and I were having a normal conversation up there at press row. And then all of a sudden I just see your four fingers reach out and then you pull out your phone to film it. I'm like, well, I'm not coaching anymore. Anyway.
Anyways, give me your thoughts.
Well, I've been so excited for this show because it's finally the show where I can prove that I was right all along about Bo Nix. You know, I mean, you and I were at the draft party. You know, you were very subdued in your overall reaction to Bo Nix. And here I was, man, this is the face of the franchise, the future of the Denver Broncos. No, I obviously didn't say that. I am actually just very pleased with the direction the Denver Broncos are going today. And today was all about, in my opinion, it was all about one franchise that has been taken over by trauma, by ineptitude. And that's the Las Vegas Raiders under Antonio Pierce. That's a disaster. It's a mess. And then another franchise that just lets everybody else make those types of mistakes. And right now that's 2 weeks in a row against franchises that are in disarray. And you went 2-0 against franchises in disarray. And that's the New York Jets. Played out again today in London, and what happened with the Las Vegas Raiders. And you got to make the next growth that you need, the next step of growth that you need to, you got to win those games. And the Broncos have done it, and they've done it very impressively.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And it was the tale of two halves, obviously. And so let's break down Bo Nix in terms of what we saw in the first half compared to what we saw in the second half. And then we'll get to the Ferris Bueller stuff. But what did we see in those two different halves?
First half was a bit unimpressive. It felt like a continuation of the New York Jets game. Not obviously as bad because the weather was fairly, I mean, it was beautiful. It was about as good as it could get today. But just in general, just risk averse, really risk averse. I'm talking, did not look comfortable in the pocket. I did not like his footwork. I didn't like some of the breakdowns. He was breaking contain with clean pockets at times. And frankly, he looked a little too easy to sack. Which is exactly opposite of what Sean Payton said in his press conference today. One of those sacks today reminded me of the TJ Watt sack of Bo Nix, where it was almost like his aura and the aura of Max Crosby brought Bo Nix to the ground. The first half, man, I'll just say it just left a lot to be desired. What did you see? What did you see, D-Mac?
I saw a guy who was better when he got a little pissed off. I saw a guy who just needed to raise the temperature a little bit. And I think getting pissed off that Troy Franklin dropped a beautiful deep touchdown pass, but I don't think that was what was making everybody so upset on the sideline. I don't think that's what it was.
You're 100% right in that.
Yeah, I think that happened. But a couple plays before that, Luke Wattenberg snapped the ball to his butt, and Bo Nix was in the gun. Amen. And that's what I think it was. And nobody would completely confirm that. But let's read between the lines a little bit, because here's Sean Payton on that.
I've seen you have these conversations.
It's part of the deal. Listen, last year all of a sudden it's just there's still a little bit of Ferris Bueller in this player that we got to get rid of. All right, talking about Bo, and I love him to death. And And so sometimes it's my love language. All right?
Can you say what it was about?
No, no, absolutely not.
All right, Vic, welcome to the show. However, I got to tell you, Jeff Legwold and Sean Payton have a very interesting relationship. Really interesting. It's a little, but, you'll see what I say here. But good for Leggy to follow up with the Ferris Bueller thing.
What do you mean by Ferris Bueller?
Oh, it's just funny.
Yeah, I mean, just personality or... I'm just asking.
Yeah, Ferris was kind of quirky, doing his own thing once in a while. I mean, I don't know. Did you watch the movie? Have you ever seen it? He's still got a little Ferris Bueller in him. I mean, he's got some. We mischievous. Not that, maybe a little bit, kind of subtly. Look, there are times where you send something in, and then I don't want it flipped, and then it gets flipped because and so it's all good. He works his tail off, and I am that way, and so it just is what it is, and yeah, that's it.
All right, Vic, you want to break this down?
Well, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sound great.
Sorry I'm late to the party.
That's all right.
I fell asleep. Usually I fall asleep. Usually I fall asleep during the game, but this was an exciting game watching it from the stands, so I did not.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying the love language thing is interesting. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with a coach and a quarterback going after each other a little bit like that on the sideline. I think it's great. I also think it's great that Bo Nix actually stood up for himself a little bit. In fact, my follow-up question, but the way they conduct those press conferences, you're not allowed to ask follow-up questions.
I know.
Because it just goes from one person to another.
Right.
My follow-up question would have been, do you appreciate the fact that your quarterback actually stood up to you and had a little disagreement with you? I think it's great. And I think that Sean Payton may think it's great. But we're not allowed to ask those kind of questions, and this is where we are.
I'll tell you this. Sean Payton has a presser tomorrow at 10 a.m. I 1,000%, if it doesn't get asked before that, I 1,000% will ask that at 10 a.m. That would have been a great follow-up question.
Well, I mean,
because we're obviously reminded of the Russ Wilson situation last year.
Sure. You can't delve into it. You can't go that deeply. The love language thing, I think it's hilarious because, listen, Sean's snappy. He's snappy. I love a quarterback who's snappy too. Let's go. And did you guys notice Bo Nix was better after that exchange? He was better after that exchange.
I was just saying that to Mike right before you got on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted out right after, just you could see there was a resolve that was very different about Bo Nix, that, an angry Bo Nix is my favorite type of Bo Nix. And that's 100% right. Almost feel like sometimes if Bo Nix is playing in this pleasing mode, like I want to please my coach, I want to make all the right decisions, I think that ends up being Robo-Bo, right? I think that's what you call him there, DMac.
Bobot, the Bobot.
This was not the Bobot, right? Because robots don't snap back at you, right? Like that was awesome to see. Deconstruction of one of the things that we've all kind of complained about, even to training camp. Like, is there ever going to be a humanization of this player as it relates to how he plays the game? And it showed up today. And it was awesome for not just today's game against the Raiders. I'm going to go out on a ledge and say it was awesome for the Broncos season and for the future of their franchise. I think that moment of Bo Nix clapping back at Sean Payton, I think it was exactly what Russell Wilson didn't do a year ago. Bo Nix did it, and his teammates said, "That's my quarterback."
Coach.
All right. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think the point of contention actually was?
This is purely conjecture, but I'm gonna say it's probably based off of me watching the plays preceding that interaction. Because if you remember last year, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton's blow up, which was really a one-sided affair of Sean Payton losing it on Russell, it was actually from several plays prior. Correct. And in that instance, from what I heard, is it was because it was a red zone run where Russell Wilson gave a little fade signal to Cortland Sutton instead of handing off the play and went off script and did something that really pissed off Sean Payton. All right. Russell didn't own it, and Russell didn't clap back and say that was That was a better opportunity for us to score a touchdown than what you called, right? I mean, he didn't say it. I think this was all about, and I'm piecing things together, Vic. Did you guys see Chase Daniel when he talked about what it's like to be on the quarterback coach communication with Sean Payton? He said that a lot of times he gets really frustrated, gets really fired up. And frankly, Chase Daniel, his old quarterback, he said that he screws some things up from time to time.
Mhm.
I think that there was a play call that came in, and it was probably either on, it was relayed as a wristband from the earpiece down to look at your wristband, but something didn't have the word under center in it. And it probably was a shotgun snap. Luke Wattenberg snapped the ball between his legs. That was the fumbled exchange. Bo Nix is standing back with his heels at 5 yards. And I think that Bo Nix came across after that series. Sean Payton ripped his ass. And I think Bo Nix said, "You were wrong.
Hey, right.
You called it wrong. So don't
Right.
get on my ass." And then I think he was also mad about the whole, Troy Franklin deal. And I will say that I have a lot of support for Bo Nix in his post-game presser, not saying that he said I overthrew the pass. He didn't overthrow the pass. It was the best.
Catchable.
It was the best throw of Bo Nix's tenure in Denver, period. Training camp, preseason, regular season. The best throw that I've seen Bo Nix make.
Well, here is Bo Nix on the exchange.
And then what was going on there, and why were you so heated about it?
Yeah, well, he turned and looked at me and said, "I love you," and I turned and said, "I love you back."
Now,
Love
have you noticed he responded that way to our pal Zach Stevens at DNVR? I asked him about that interception. He goes, "Well, yeah, I stepped back and threw it to the other team." We're getting a little sense of his timing with stuff. This little that little it's a little snarky. It's a little snarky with Bo Nix. There's a little attitude there.
Can I ask you guys this? Do you think they're notified before they walk out there that these questions are going to be asked about certain things that appeared on national television?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've dealt with that, Vic.
Mhm.
I've dealt with that as even as a head coach on a very small scale at Western Kentucky. I had a fantastic director of sports information director
Yeah.
that would give me 3 or 4 things right before I went out, and it was based off what Twitter was talking about.
Yeah.
Especially after a tough one, right?
Mhm.
If you have a tough game and you made a decision, he said, "Hey, just be prepared to talk about your 4th down decision on the -22." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm an idiot. I shouldn't have done it."
Yeah.
I think there's that hallway between the locker room and the big media room. And I think our boy Patrick Smythe has a little chat about stuff that he knows the audience saw that might come up that might not be that obvious. I'm going to guess he does.
I've seen a lot of comments already on our comment section, and thank you all for the comments. I was sitting in the stands watching this game. And by the way, watching a game from the stands is 1,000,000 times better than sitting in that aquarium we called the press box. It is the worst. And, nothing to do with the Broncos. Every press box is terrible. Every press box is awful. Can't hear anything, can't feel anything, can't get a sense of the game. It's awful. So sitting out there in the stands was great. As I'm watching that play unfold, and I'm watching what he's watching, Bo Nix, a lot of people are saying, well, he threw to the wrong guy. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I know Mims was open. Who cares? He had a touchdown.
Yeah.
Wide open touchdown. You know what the right play is? A touchdown.
Absolutely.
Every single time. I don't care that Mims is open. I don't care. He had a touchdown. No one was within 15 yards
Wide
of that
open.
receiver.
Wide open.
It was easy. It was the play to make. He made the right call. Maybe he overthrew him just a tad, whatever, but it was the right play to make. I don't see anything else, guys.
I'll tell you what he did. He really put that ball up in the air, coach. Really high in the air.
Right.
Meaning I'm just putting it up there. I got the arm strength to do that. My guy's just going to run under it at some point. I don't think he overthrew it at all. That being said, I think it's hard to tell on TV, how fast everything's going, how high the ball actually is. I think that's a tougher catch than it may appear on TV.
No, it's not.
But you are a professional. Oh, well, all right.
Make a catch. I mean, he hits you perfectly in stride. I mean, it's at the high school level, you're supposed to catch it. I mean, that's the bottom line. Troy Franklin dropped the pass. And that would have, and the thing that sucks for Troy Franklin is that catch would have completely changed his season. I mean, it would have completely changed his season.
And the reason he lofted it, if you go back and look at it, Franklin was a bit hesitant and almost slowed down before he got going again.
Oh, the
And I
corner
think
gave
Bo
up on the play.
recognized
The corner just stopped.
Yeah. Bo recognized that. So Bo said, I'm going to make this pretty easy on him. I'm going to put a lot of air under it. And at that point, your receiver's got to catch the football. So I don't want to hear anybody say he should have thrown it there. He should have done this. He did the right thing. He went for the touchdown. You score there. The game's obviously over. It was later, but it's over. So the quarterback made the right play. That's why I was wondering when he walked off the field, was Peyton mad at him for deciding to go there, or was it another item? That's where I was very curious.
Here is Bo Nix, at least on the Ferris Bueller stuff, if he what he took away from that.
But I think it's funny, and that literally I think explains the situation, that we're just out there with great competitive intensity and fire, and we can have those conversations and move right back along and score another few touchdowns. It doesn't bother us.
Do you like that character?
Yeah, I think that movie's funny. I think it's a great movie. I've only seen it a handful of times because it's kind of old, but I think it's good.
All right. Wasn't Ferris Bueller kind of a dick? I mean,
yeah, he was a youngster, right? He was just he was a bit of a deviant, right? I mean,
I hope this and overread it. I think Sean Payton was trying to make it funny and was trying to say, in your words, Coach, Bo Nix was being deviant. He didn't follow the principal's orders. The teacher said do this, and he didn't do it. So here he is. The one thing about that movie, and I hate to tell you guys this, 35 years later, I found it largely overrated. Not a fan.
I'm right there with you. I just thought, like, why is Ferris Bueller in this movie some sort of hero? He's kind of a liar to his parents. He deceives basically everybody in his life. He talks his best friend, Cameron, who I don't know, really. Are you his best friend, or do you just have a cool ride?
He just had a cool car.
He's got a cool car.
Yeah.
I guess he wants to get laid because he's got his girl that he's getting out of school too. He's working on that thing. And every adult in the movie is an idiot. The principal's an idiot. The secretary with the pencils in her hair is the idiot.
Yeah.
His parents are idiots. Everybody's a moron. Except for, Ferris Bueller, who thinks he's smarter than everybody else. So when he says, and I get you, Vic, I'm not going to overthink it. But when he says that he's Ferris Bueller to me, it's like, well, that's somebody you got to put in his place. But I think maybe that's just Sean Payton having a bit of a sense of humor. And I do wonder, like you asked, Vic, and I'll ask it tomorrow for sure. Is that what he wants? Is that, and that's what he didn't have in Russell Wilson. Do you want to be challenged? Did Drew Brees challenge him like that?
You just answered your own question, right? Because what does Sean Payton want? What is all of his legitimately massive success revolve around was the quarterback play of Drew Brees. So what is he looking for in his quarterback? Everything as close to Drew Brees as possible. And Drew Brees would snap back at Sean Payton intelligently. It wasn't just to do it or out of emotion. It was because there was something that needed to get on the same page. And that happened today. And that was a big development today. And back to the Ferris Bueller thing, I know from experience as a coach, there's oftentimes that you just have like a saying that you go to, say a quarterback didn't flip the wristband. Okay. When you read the wristband, say wristband 32, it means that it's set for the left hash on the quarterback comm. Sean Payton says, hey, flip 37. And then Bo didn't flip it. Okay. So then you're in film study after a win in particular. And it's fun to be like, oh yeah, you're just a Ferris Bueller. You don't want to flip it when I tell you to. That's what I think it was. Right. A lot of times it's just an honest mistake. It's not like he's but a lot of times you do have these sayings from your childhood or from your high school era, which 1986, when the movie came out, probably lines up with the Sean Payton high school college type era. Right? I bet he's been using it for years.
Okay. I am not going to be scolded as I am right now by some when I say that I thought the movie was largely overrated. That was in my era. That was my era. Okay. I have eyes. I didn't think it was that big a deal. When I saw it, I was like, I can name 150 movies that were better than Ferris Bueller.
Breakfast Club.
Maybe 170.
The entire Breakfast Club series.
But Pretty in Pink. Yeah. Yeah, all that.
Vision Quest.
Long Dong, man. Vision Quest. Great film.
No doubt
Pitch
about
Perfect 1, 2, and 3.
Well said, Vic. I don't think that was the same era, but Home Alone was better.
Great film. Home Alone, fantastic.
Yeah, John Hughes. Okay, let's talk about cornerbacks, and we'll get to Vic with Riley Moss in a second. But I was doing I'll do a little, hey, here's the game. How's it going? Dude. And who walks past me is Champ Bailey, and he's wearing his gold jacket. He's got a little cocktail in his hand. And me and Champ, Vic, I'm not sure what your relationship is with Champ. I'm going to guess it's really, really good. Mine certainly is. Champ was one of those guys, Coach, who wasn't the most vocal dude out loud, but he was a great guy, Vic, to talk to. He always has been, in my opinion.
One of my favorite Broncos of all time. He was chill. He was cool.
Yeah.
He never said no. He gave you the time of day. He referred to you respectfully. He wasn't a jerk, and he was a star player. I mean, what more can you ask for? I love Champ Bailey, still do.
Yeah, and both of our birthdays are on June 22nd. Different years, but we share that. So he's walking around, and I'm like, hey, Champ, come on over here, because I wanted to ask him about Surtain.
Come on, man. Come here.
Here we go, man.
Come on.
The
Hey.
one and only.
Hey, Surtain.
What about it? Are you surprised or something?
Not surprised. He said it was one of the honors of his life to get jersey swap with you earlier
man,
today.
It's a rare moment where you get to swap a jersey with a current player, former player. I mean, he is what elite corner looks like, and I'm just happy to see him have a career day today.
Yeah.
It's funny, they flashed a stat on the screen that this is the first time that's happened, 2 picks in the game since I did it. So it was like only fitting that I was in the house tonight, and he did what he did.
Look at this thing.
Yeah, man.
Look at this thing.
Just a little something.
You know what I'm saying?
Something I picked up.
All right, bro. I love you, pal.
Oh,
It's
man,
good to
good
see
to see
Champ
you,
Bailey.
man.
I'll let you go.
All right, take it easy,
My
bro.
guy,
Take it easy.
Champ Bailey.
There you go. Pretty cool,
Hey,
right?
DMac,
Yeah.
never hug a Hall of Famer ever again. I never want to see that again.
I was looking. I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, this is the jacket. This is the jacket. This is the. I'm gonna hug.
We make a lot of comparisons. Obviously, Patrick Surtain took it to the house from the end zone.
Yeah.
Champ did it against the Patriots in the playoffs 2005.
Yeah.
If replay were alive today or back then, that touchdown would not have counted. You know that, right? You know that in that game.
Why?
Because he fumbled through the end zone. He got hit right.
You think so? You think that would have come back out, huh?
Go back and look at it.
Yeah, I know.
Go back and look at it.
This is up there with Matt Holiday. Did he touch it or not? I mean, it's kind of a classic.
Not that it matters. Back then, it did matter. It was still an amazing.
But you think on
play.
replay? You think for sure on replay that would have come back out, huh?
I mean, I'll never forget the play. It's so
Oh, that's
vivid in
great.
my mind. Nick Ferguson causes it because he comes in off the safety blitz, and Champ Bailey down the left sideline, and then Ben. What's Ben's name?
Ben Watson.
Ben Watson chases him down. An amazing
unbelievable play by
Watson.
Ben Watson.
Yeah. But the Surtain, Coach, tell me if you agree with me on this. When you watch Surtain run, and you knew he was going to go to the house as soon as the quarterback got steamrolled, which was great. But when he runs, it doesn't even look like he's moving his legs that fast. It's very similar to what I watched Ryan Williams of Alabama. He's not even moving his legs, and yet he's faster than everybody. It's a crazy thing.
Yeah, the Nick Saban tree of coaches has a propensity for identifying athletes that make everything look extremely easy.
Yes.
And I think that's exactly what we saw. Even hearing Champ Bailey talk, how smooth is he as he just talking to DMac there. That's what Patrick Surtain is. I love the fact that when he had that pick six, he actually kind of did let the blocking scheme develop with Jonah Ellis, who fortunately didn't get called for the holding call, should not have been called for the holding call. It was the right decision. But I just love that he just let it develop. And then when he just decided to turn it up, it was all he needed. He is so long. He's so powerful that he makes eating up ground in his strides look so it looks like a 50% rep.
Effortless, very much so.
Yeah, here's Surtain talking about
it's expected out there when you have a Hall of Fame player like that come and watch you. And I had to capitalize on the most opportunities I could get, right? So had to make that pick six happen, and got another blessing, another pick as well too. So that jersey swap is a legendary. That's something that I've always wanted to have in the inventory.
He said he's only 24, but he could envision himself, fellas, like the heroes of the Broncos. Could you see that trajectory for Patrick Surtain?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he got paid that bundle of money, a lot of people wondered, wow, what has he really done? Well, this year he's doing a lot of stuff. And when you throw his way, by the way, I want to give a ton of credit to Riley Moss.
We're going to get there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But Patrick Surtain is not going to get the ball thrown his way unless the other side of the field is taken care of. And if Riley Moss keeps proving himself, if Riley Moss keeps proving himself, Patrick Surtain is going to get more air traffic. If you get more air traffic, you're going to get more picks, more opportunities. You remember, DMac, Champ had a season and a half where nobody threw to his side of the ball. It was a lonely place to be. And he didn't have all the interceptions that people were wondering, what's the big deal? It's because nobody tested him. People will test Surtain if Riley Moss does his end.
Well, speaking of Riley Moss, and we'll have Vic with Moss here in a second, but here is, there is something. It's the white cornerback thing. I don't know how else to say it, right? Like it's like a thing, and I'm not sure what kind of thing it is. But even Surtain was laughing about it.
It's crazy because a lot of people was questioning, the white cornerback, what he's going to do. But he's definitely making history. So it's good to see him out there making plays and doing what he's doing. So I'm very proud of him.
I'm just laughing because he hesitated. He didn't know what to call him. He waited. He was like the white
guy.
That was amazing. I have not seen that. That was the highlight of the day.
Oh, that was so good.
But Riley Moss is the first white starting cornerback in the NFL in 20 years.
Since Jason Sehorn?
Is that crazy or what?
Yep.
Is Sehorn the last one?
I'm not saying other guys haven't played the position. They probably have, but I'm talking like a starter. I think Sehorn. I think there's somebody else too, and the name kind of escapes me. But even Surtain, like, look at his smile here again, because it's like, do I say this?
It's crazy because a lot of people was questioning, the white cornerback, what he's going.
In the locker room they have a ton of fun with that, right? In the locker room, because Riley Moss he's heard it all his entire life,
right? Of course.
How much crap does Riley Moss hear on the field, let alone in the locker room?
I can't even imagine.
Fellas, I know we're not supposed to talk politics, and I'm not going to. Okay, but I have a story to explain to you. When I was coaching at Stanford, there was an offensive coordinator who was of a different. He was of African American descent, so he was black. I think I'm trying to figure out and he was going through a scouting report and showing films. Okay. And it's not Riley Moss, but there was a white cornerback playing for another team. He paused it, looked back at everybody, said, "Hey, you see this Republican right here? We're going after this Republican. Like, all things even, safety ain't over the top. We're going after this Republican." And the entire room full of Stanford football players just lost it. It was so good.
Funny.
Well, here is Vic, and you can talk about your interactions with him. But here's a few minutes with a minute with Riley Moss.
Agenda-free football. We're going in. We're working. Roach has done a great job of we give up some plays. He's in the huddle saying, guys, let's go. We're fine. Let's go. So everyone's got their role. They're owning their role, and they're doing a great job.
What was your vantage point of Pat's pick six, and how much fun is that?
It was sweet. I was chasing the over on the other side, and then he ends up picking it off and took off. And at that point, there was no way I was going to be able to block someone. So then I was just sitting there like cheering them on, and then they threw the flag, and then I was like, "There's no shot, right?" Thank God they picked up the flag, but it was really cool.
So you just hang out on the back end?
Yeah, I was vibing. Yeah, I was cheering them on.
Where does that football go? Your first pick?
It's in my basement for sure. I'm gonna frame it and stuff, and it'll be cool.
Okay. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Dude, it's going to be in his basement, right near his hacky sacks and, beer pong. I mean, he's a dude.
I didn't have that deep of an interaction with him, by the way. I asked him one question at the end, but, that's how those things go. I like the kid, man. He's bubbly. He's, you could tell that he's intelligent, and he's got a chip on his shoulder, which I love. I love players with chips on their shoulder. You can tell Riley Moss has one.
Well, he's been playing great. He gets his first pick. O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell.
O'Connell. Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
he's AOC.
Okay.
AOC. Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, and again with the politics.
Hey, man.
And the one unbelievable throw he made, which was incredible on the sideline, Riley Moss almost stopped that too. Listen, this Broncos defense has been outstanding. It was like a garbage drive, touchdown, 2-point conversion for the Raiders late in the game, right? I mean, that meant absolutely nothing. The game was well out of hand. And if the Broncos wanted to, they could have shoved that ball right into the Raiders' end zone, and it could have been 41-18. They could have done that.
But I want you guys to consider something, all right? All right, replay the game in your head. I know the score was a joke that the Broncos dominated. When the score is 10-3 and they're inside the 10, and all you have to do is dink it to Bowers, just dink, and then it's 17-3, everything's different. The whole game's different. The whole mentality is different. I thought the Raiders imploded after that play. Completely. You could tell. Their quarterback imploded. Their coaching staff panicked. Everything changed. If he just throws one of these, coach, just beep, it's a different game.
Yep.
Yeah, Sean Payton talked about the importance of that interception.
There's no stepping on the gas. He made a good play. So it wasn't like, he made a real good play. The significance of the play is it's a 10-point play because they're probably in a minimum going to kick a field goal from where it happened at. So that was a huge play for us.
Yeah, it was gargantuan. It changed everything. And the implosion of the Raiders was something else to see, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
think about how Antonio Pierce came to this role.
Lord.
He was just recently show-caused by the NCAA for 8 years because of how bad things were and his involvement at the Arizona State Sun Devil program under Herm Edwards, right? Then you go and Josh McDaniel, who's, we all know, it's awful. Playing for him, coaching for him, the facility's awful. It's not good. The results aren't there, and everybody hates going to work, right? So Antonio Pierce was the vibes guy, right? He came in with the emotion, the cigars in the locker room. Well, what Sean Payton is not is the vibes guy. He's just the process guy. He's the X's and O's guy. He's the mature guy. And you can see that Antonio Pierce might not be long for coaching the National Football League, period. And I'm talking about weeks, months. Like, this is bad, guys.
I think the wheels are going to fall off. I can see it.
I mean, I saw it. Vic and I looked at I looked at DMac when he made the decision to bench Gardner Minshew, who started out on fire, by the way. He had a perfect quarterback rating through the second quarter, or like middle of the second quarter. He benches him. All right. And I said, wow, like, he's not going to make it through the year because there's drama everywhere around this Raiders franchise.
I could tell.
Can you guys see? And I don't know if you caught it, but Shedeur was at a Las Vegas Aces game. Do you see him? Who he was talking to?
Mark Davis.
Yeah.
The haircut.
Did you see Coach Prime coaching the Raiders with Shedeur?
Yep.
You could.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Wow. The way you put those puzzle pieces together just now.
Pretty good.
That was I could see that coming together under the lights of Vegas. Are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. How could you, if you were Prime, turn that down?
Well, how would you get Shedeur Sanders? You're not guaranteed.
They're working on it. They're working.
Well, they did a hell of a job today to get Shedeur Sanders. I'll tell you.
How many games do you think they're winning, Vic, the rest of the year? What do you think they're doing?
They got to beat Carolina. There's a couple teams that they're going to have to fist fight to get to that number one pick.
Yeah.
Did they already lose to Carolina? The Raiders? They lost him 2 weeks ago.
You're right. They lost the tiebreaker. Good
That's
point.
right. That's right. Hey, you know what Shedeur could always do? He could pull an Eli Manning. He could, I'm not going there. I'm going. He could make it. He could make it clear.
What a fit! What a fit that would be. Wow.
But by the way, teams have endless first-round draft picks, sort of. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'll give you 2 first-rounders and Max Crosby. Yeah, okay. You can have the second pick in the draft for that. You going to argue with me on that one? No, we're probably going to make that work. There's ways to do it. We'll get to that, when it comes down the pike, and we'll see the Raiders a little bit later on. One of the cool things about today, and we see Bo Nix in the throwback, and I want to get you guys just your reflections on how the Penners did everything. And when Bo steps up, it's pretty cool because he admitted where he got his throwback from.
Bo, you're wearing a Elway throwback. What did 1977 and all that stuff mean to you? How did you connect with everything like that?
Well, growing up is my dad's favorite quarterback. So, being a Bronco now with everything that he's done to lay this foundation for the guys that come after him and can play quarterback at a high level. And, with my dad, that history, him being my dad's favorite player, it's just two guys that have put me in a situation to go out there and succeed. And so it was a great day to kind of pay tribute to those that came before you. And, I had it in the closet and wanted to put it to use.
Okay, that's kind of cool. He's got it in the closet, he just throws it on like, hey, this would be cool. It's his dad's favorite player. I didn't know that. I had no idea it was his dad's favorite player.
That's pretty bold. You show up with number 7. And you show up with number 7 in this town.
Yeah.
That number 7.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that. That's good. That's
bold.
good.
A lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would not do that. They wouldn't, because he's still here. He's still Elway. And you're comparing yourself, not comparing yourself, but you're wearing his jersey. That's meaningful. Listen, you said something about the Penners and the ownership group, and I want to echo these sentiments because you and I are in agreement. I want to give full praise and credit to the new ownership group of the Broncos for not only embracing the history of this franchise, but going above and beyond with embracing it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that's the first time that the 77 team has been brought back into town and championed like that? First time.
I can't believe that, actually. I'm shocked.
Yeah. And not only did they bring them back, they brought all of them back for this ceremony. They said, listen, we're going to take this on. They went to yesteryear with the uniforms and the color scheme. You saw the stadium today. Everything in the stadium looked like it was in the Wayback Machine. They spend the money. They mean it. This is a great ownership group. And if you're a Bronco fan, you should be really happy that it's in their hands, to be honest with you.
Coach?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't born in 1977, so I don't have much to say about 1977. So, yeah.
But what about the fashion of 77?
Guys,
what about the jerseys?
Have you guys watched the highlights from the NFL? You guys have been so damn busy. You were at the presser, but have you watched the highlights of just the slate of NFL football games today?
No, a little bit, not a ton.
You go bounce around the league here, there, the other place. When that damn Broncos highlights reel started, I was like, "Holy cow, does that look sharp?"
It pops.
I mean,
Everybody said it.
It is absolutely beautiful. And it was what I loved about today was not just how the Penners honored the 1977 team. And I'm being semi-humorous about 1977. I've had great conversations with my father about Randy Gradishar, a lot of different things over the course of being in Denver. I've been able to catch up on the history of the Broncos from my dad, who was a fan, of the Broncos as a kid. Bo Nix, he talked about his dad was a huge fan. My dad grew up, with the Broncos as one of those teams, right? So the thing that I love is not just the jerseys, not just the honoring, but man, that stadium was so themed out. All the digital is up on the dream.
Everything.
Everything.
Every single detail matters to the Penner family, and they are an unbelievable ownership group.
I got to show you this. I got to show this real quick. Do you guys know that Steve Foley is one of 13?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it shows okay. This is his family.
That's incredible.
This is his family, guys, who was there for his that's his family. Everybody in there. Wow. That's not just a bunch of fans looking for autographs. All these people are somehow related to Steve Foley. There had to be 100 Foleys there. Look at that.
Good for him. That looks like the attendance at an Oakland A's game before they moved. That's great. Good. Riley Odoms and Steve Foley, they were part of my childhood, man.
Me too.
Those guys, those names, I'll never forget them. And the fact that they brought them back into town and they feeded them and they threw them in front of the crowd, that was awesome. And for the Broncos to finally beat the Raiders for the first time in 8 tries, my God, it's about time.
Let me tell you, everybody referenced the uniforms leading up to this game. every single person you talk to reference what this day meant. There was a big thing last night. There's been things during the week. They made this such a big deal. To lose this game would have been like a disaster considering what was going on.
All right. So let me ask the obvious question. If everybody makes a big deal out of it and everybody loves it, and even the players, they couldn't wait to slip into these uniforms, what are we doing?
I don't know.
What? Listen to me.
I don't know.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I agree.
Why not?
I agree.
I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I mean,
if I have to see the all white Broncos uniform, the new one with the navy blue helmet again, because I feel like it's all we've seen the whole year outside of today. It's even the home games they've been in the all white with the blue. It's like what? It's not a great looking uniform. Now the new oranges are really clean. I like the new navy blue, but apparently they're only going to be worn once this year, which is wild to me. I don't understand the obsession with the white on white with the navy blue helmet that they've been wearing. Basically,
don't like them.
They
Dress
suck.
better.
They suck.
Feel better.
They
play
suck.
better.
Yeah.
Dress better. Play better. Feel better. Listen, it works. Players care.
Yeah,
they do. They care. They care.
We heard that all week, right? I mean,
heard it all week.
We heard it all week. Hey, I'm going to get ahead of my skis here, fellas. I'm looking right now at the Broncos at 3-2. Okay. And you can say that, Paul Chesky got hurt. Well, guess what? Mike McGlinchey is about a week away from returning. And then if Paul Chesky has a high ankle sprain, then he'll probably be about 4 weeks from returning. So that's not a problem. If you look at the remaining 12 games on the schedule, am I right in saying 12? We're 4-1, correct? Or 3-2.
Yeah.
Right? You look at
12,
the remaining
12.
12. There are only, as I see it here, there are only 4 teams that you're going to look at and say they have something that we don't have. And that's going to be the Ravens on the road, 2 games against the Chiefs, although they're not playing tremendous football. And then you have the Bengals. I mean, guys, you have another crack at the Raiders. Falcons are coming here. They're going to be playing at altitude. You got the Browns coming here, who are the drizzling shits.
Terrible.
Watch that. They are so bad. They're
terrible.
The Colts, who lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, are coming to Empower Field. And you have the Chargers twice. That's going to be an important series. I think you sweep against the Chargers, you're going to playoffs, fellas. That's it.
Well,
you have
currently
4 games against teams.
They're in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs right now. Playoffs start next week. They're in the playoffs right now.
What are you guys going to say to people who have been shitting on Bo Nix? How about Mark Mosier, who called during halftime to, I don't know, because he sent out a tweet, we're going to have a conversation about Bo. That's what Mark said at halftime. And he called both me on speaker, and then he started cursing like a sailor, and I had to take him off speaker. And then, Vic, he calls Sanford. Like, we're sitting right next to you. Call Sanford. What do you say to people who gave up on Bo in the first half and don't really believe in this guy? What will they be saying now?
Well, to be fair with Mark, he called you at halftime, and second half Bo Nix was much better than first half Bo Nix. First half Bo Nix was hard to watch at times.
Yeah,
okay,
DMac, it was not good.
Yeah,
football.
so DMac, if
that was what his emotions were.
Yeah, if you're going to sit there and deny the fact that he struggled in the first half, I don't know what you're watching.
I'm not denying it, but I'm saying it's a full game, fellas.
I know.
I know. But we're winning 13-10 at halftime.
Okay. You know why they were winning. All right. What we talked about, the play that changed the game. They're not winning because Bo Nix is taking them to the promised land. They're winning for other reasons. And then in the second half, he turned it on and looked good. He looked good. He had a couple of drives. The drive I was most impressed with was the drive at the end of the half. Get him in field goal range. That's all you had to do is get in field goal range, and they did.
Yeah, here's what I'd say to that question is my answer would be this. In the way that I evaluate quarterbacks is that realize that it is a marathon, not a sprint. Even the first half, you want to have a knee-jerk reaction. You heard my conversation, DMac, with Mosier on the phone. I said, there is another half to play. I'm going to sit and watch it and evaluate it. There are going to be large pendulum swings for Bo Nix as the season progresses. Think about last week against the New York Jets. It wasn't first half this week. Wasn't great. Wasn't terrible. Wasn't great. And then the second half, it was awesome. Like that's the life of a rookie quarterback. You look to the other 2 starting rookie quarterbacks. they're playing really good football, DMac. Like the picking order was not necessarily out of whack based off of the results through 4 or 5 games of these rookies in their starting careers.
I do have an issue with people just picking comments and tweets that happen mid-game. You're live tweeting mid-game. You're making a comment about something that happened mid-game. Don't come back to me 2 hours later after the win and say, oh, why'd you say that? Because in that moment, he looked bad. That's why. Later, he looked good. But you're live tweeting commentary during the game. What, are you supposed to delete all those? Doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, Mosier, we got to have a conversation. It's like, okay, we'll talk about this, I
but
guess.
DMac, you know full well, and you've already been through this pendulum swing yourself, is like, if you all of a sudden are like Bo Nix and you're standing on your gold medal podium, there's going to be a moment where you're going to get your ass knocked down off that podium. And that's just the way sports works, especially with rookie quarterbacks. There are going to be incredible ups and downs, even in this remaining season. He's going to have an absolute stinker against the team he's supposed to beat. It's going to happen. It's the NFL.
How'd the Bears do today, real quick?
Phenomenal.
They won?
Oh, dude, Caleb Williams.
Oh, wow. He had a big game. I'm looking at
He was, and Jaden Daniels. Like, these dudes are
All right,
unbelievable.
so just a heat check here. There's 3 rookie quarterbacks starting. 3, right? Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Their combined record is 10-5.
10-5. On
Wait,
teams,
I got to be wrong on that. No, 10-5. Right. 10-5. 10-5 rookie quarterbacks through 5 games.
On teams that absolutely stunk last year.
It's pretty damn good.
Except for the Broncos. The Broncos were the closest thing to being, a competent football team. Commanders,
did you have any thought, and we'll wrap up on this thought because it's such a positive day. But if doing this show a couple weeks ago, right? After week 2, did you really believe at all that they would be on a 3-game winning streak?
No.
Hell no.
No.
Hell
No, I'm not going to lie and say that. I thought they'd be 0-6 before Carolina.
No chance.
Right?
I mean,
it's crazy.
That's
awesome.
the beauty of sports. That's why we love. It's why we do what we do. It's why we watch. I mean, all you need to do is turn on the television yesterday and watch college football to know that shit happens and shit you never expect to happen. And it happened a lot yesterday in college ball.
Yeah, and I would argue that even though today the yards and the numbers look like the Raiders moved the football against the Broncos defense, I think that the 3-game winning streak has been because a great defense or a great run game is a rookie quarterback's best friend. And today it was the defense again, this time an incredible effort from Patrick Surtain and Riley Moss and even the pass rush. But it was Patrick Surtain's play that really shifted this game because it wasn't pretty up until that point.
By the way, really final thought. How do you know when you're carrying the field goal post how to actually go 3 miles to throw it in the river? Like who organically becomes in charge of the field goal post, fellas, to get that shit into the water?
That is the field goal post disposal unit. That it's actually a class at Vanderbilt. Hey, good for Vandy, man. I was so psyched for Vandy. That was so cool to watch. So cool.
Yeah, Diego Pavia. Get to know the name, man. The New Mexico.
I don't think we got to get to know the name. He had a great game. I don't think we're going to have to get to know the name.
He's a really good player. He's a really good player.
He's going to be the best player on his company softball team when he's an accountant for them. His hero is Trevor Siemian, likely. We're not going to have to get to know his name, but he had one freaking hell of a game. There's no doubt about it.
He will have another SEC upset. Trust me. He's transferred from New Mexico State. That program won 10 games for the first time.
All right.
He's an absolute baller. He's like from Albuquerque, New Mexico. We should celebrate our green chili brethren, DMac. You should get to know
slippery,
the
name.
Man.
I like this game a lot.
He is a baller.
You guys saw what my Syracuse did to UNLV, right? We all noticed.
Fantastic. I will salute to the Syracuse Orangemen that are having a very good football season this year.
Kyle McCord. All right, boys, you guys were the best. Any final thoughts before we go? Anything else on the table about today or whatever you want to say?
Sorry I fell asleep. That's all I got.
Mike?
Expectation bar has been raised. It's playoff season, baby.
Okay, all right. And with that, we got to thank our sponsors there before we go there, Mike. You got one more there for us, pal?
You got to give me a little bit more warning. It's very poor producing right there. All right, let's see.
Really?
He's supposed to wait. Is he supposed to read something?
Oh, he is.
I'm close to memorizing it. It's just my second time doing it. Really.
It's
All
okay.
right, so we got to understand this, Vic. That Altitude After Dark is brought to you by Bo Smith, your Edward Jones financial advisor in the beautiful state of Colorado. Learn how we can help you reach your financial goals. Visit edwardsjones.com/BAU-Smith. Cheers to Bo Smith and Edward Jones Financial.
All right, boys. We'll see you later. Vic on the radio tomorrow morning. Mosher's still on vacation. And Mike, 10 a.m.?
10 a.m. Dempsey and Company. Oh, Exaggeration Monday. It's going to be ridiculous.
And PhD at noon. We'll see you then. See you, fellas.
See ya.
Bye.